The early morning mist draped softly across the meadow, like a gentle shawl placed lovingly upon the shoulders of the earth. I often rise before the sun when the world still slumbers, and the only companions are the hush of the trees and the quiet breath of the wind. There is a particular kind of stillness at this hour space where the mind can settle, where the heart can soften. As I sit beneath an old maple tree outside the temple, a warm cup of tea resting between my palms, I am reminded of an ancient truth. In silence, we find clarity. In the world beyond these woods, I know life rushes forward. So many are caught in a current of noise, always moving, always striving, always chasing, phones buzzing, deadlines looming, the endless hum of the mind, spinning stories of what must be done, what could go wrong, what needs to be controlled. But here, beneath the wide open sky, with the fragrance of damp earth rising, there is no such rush. The silence speaks louder than any word. When I was a young monk, my teacher once told me, "You cannot hear the whispers of the universe if your own voice fills the space." At the time, I did not understand. I believed that wisdom would come through study, through effort, through speaking and asking. But seasons passed. Leaves turned from green to gold, from gold to bare branches, and then green again. And in that cycle of quiet watching, I began to hear the subtle teachings of life itself. When the wind stirs the leaves just so, it reminds us life is always moving. Yet in its movement, there is also a deep stillness. Many who come to the temple today speak of their longing for peace, for success, for love, for happiness. They speak of wanting to attract these things into their lives, of striving to manifest their deepest desires. And yet, beneath their words, I hear the tension, the gripping, the trying, the effort to force life to unfold a certain way. Have you ever tried to catch a butterfly by chasing it? The more you run, the more it flutters out of reach. But when you sit quietly, with open hands, sometimes it lands softly upon your shoulder. Life is not so different. There is great power in calmness. In our modern world, we are taught that to achieve, we must hustle, push, and control every detail. That success comes to those who never rest. But in truth, calmness is not laziness. It is clarity. When the lake is still, you can see the reflection of the sky. When the mind is still, you can see the reflection of your own heart and the subtle guidance of the universe. In Buddhism, we often say, when you let go of resistance, you align with the natural flow of life. You do not need to fight the current. You need only to float, to trust, to allow. A woman once came to me, her face drawn with worry. She had worked tirelessly for years, chasing her dreams, but felt only exhaustion and disappointment. She asked, "Master, why is it that when I try so hard, nothing seems to come?" I smiled gently and said, "Perhaps it is not in the trying, but in the trusting." I led her to the small pond behind the temple. The surface was glass smooth that morning. I tossed a single pebble into the water, and we watched the ripples spread outward. See how the ripples move? You need not force them. You only need to release the stone. In her striving, she had been like someone splashing wildly, disturbing the waters. But in stillness, in calm, we allow life to ripple outward naturally. You see, calmness is a form of manifestation in itself. It is a quiet invitation to the universe. I am ready. I trust. I am open. When we cultivate calm within through breath, through presence, through surrender, we become magnets for what is meant for us. Imagine walking through a sun-dappled forest. If you rush, you may miss the delicate bloom hidden beneath the ferns, or the soft call of a bird perched high above. But when you walk slowly, with open awareness, the forest reveals its secrets. So too with life. Dear one, as you listen to these words, I invite you to pause. Feel your breath, the gentle rise and fall of your chest, the weight of your body resting upon the earth. There is no need to do anything, no need to chase. In this moment, everything is enough. When you return to calmness, you return to your natural state, a state in which life can flow through you and to you. You do not need to force the river to run. It knows its way to the sea. In this way, when you cultivate calmness, you open the door for miracles, for opportunities to arise effortlessly, for love to enter gently, for abundance to find its way to your open hands. Let us sit with this truth a little while longer. There is no rush. In the stillness, you are enough. In your calm, you are already manifesting the life you seek. And as you rest here, in the quiet spaces between words, remember sometimes it is when we stop trying that everything we need begins to arrive. There is a rhythm to life, as sure and steady as the tide that kisses the shore. When I was a young monk, eager and restless, I often found myself wanting things to happen sooner. I wished to master the teachings quickly, to reach a place of peace without delay. But my teacher would smile knowingly and say, "The bamboo does not grow faster because you tug at it." At first, I did not understand. I thought that with more effort, more pushing, I could make progress. But life is not a race, and the universe does not follow the timelines we write in our minds. Have you noticed how nature honors its own timing? The cherry blossoms bloom when they are ready, not a day sooner, not a moment forced. The leaves turn brilliant hues of gold and crimson in autumn, only when the cool breath of the season arrives. And beneath the surface of the earth, seeds lie dormant for weeks, months, sometimes years, waiting for the perfect conditions to awaken. No amount of wishing or worrying can rush these natural rhythms. In the same way, the desires you hold in your heart, the love you seek, the success you envision, the healing you long for, are unfolding in their own season, perhaps not on your schedule, but on the timeline that is perfectly attuned to your soul's journey. When we forget this, when we grow impatient, we create tension. We grasp and pull at life, believing we must force outcomes, but in truth, this only clouds the path. Imagine a mountain stream clear and swift. If you try to dam it or divert it, you disturb its natural flow. But when you trust the stream, it finds its way around rocks, through forests, toward the sea. One autumn, a traveler came to the temple, man weary from chasing dreams that always seemed just out of reach. Over tea, he confessed, "I have done everything I can. I push, I strive, but nothing comes. I am losing hope." And I listened quietly, then led him to the orchard behind the temple. The trees stood bare, their branches stark against the sky. "Do you see these trees?" I asked. "Do they fret when winter comes? Do they panic that spring is not yet here?" "No," he replied softly. "And yet, when the time is right, Buds will appear, blossoms will unfold, and fruit will follow, not because they rushed, but because they trusted the rhythm of life. So it is with us. There is wisdom in surrendering to the timing of the universe, in trusting that even when you cannot see the buds, something is stirring beneath the surface. The pauses, the waiting, the quiet seasons, they are not wasted. They are preparing you, shaping you, teaching you patience, resilience, and trust. And sometimes, what the universe prepares for you is greater than anything you could have forced into being. Have you ever looked back and realized that the delays you once cursed were blessings? That the path you were detoured from led you to something richer, deeper, more aligned with your true self? Life sees beyond what our limited minds can grasp. The universe orchestrates a symphony far more beautiful than any we could compose alone. But it asks of us one thing: faith in the unseen. As you listen to my voice, perhaps you feel the stirring of your own desires, dreams not yet realized, hopes held quietly in your heart. I invite you now, release the timeline you've clung to. Take a slow, steady breath. Let it fill your belly. And as you exhale, imagine letting go of the need to control when things happen. Trust that the timing is already perfect, that unseen forces are moving, aligning, preparing the path. Just as the river knows how to carve its way through stone, so too does life know how to bring to you what is meant for you. You need not rush. You need not chase. Live fully in this moment. Tend to your inner garden and trust that the season will come. As the poet said, to everything there is a season, and a time to every purpose under heaven. In trusting the timing, you free yourself from the chains of worry. You create space for peace. And in that space, the universe can work its quiet magic. So rest here, dear one. Let the future unfold in its own way, its own time. You are exactly where you need to be. And what is meant for you is already making its way toward you, even now, in ways you cannot yet see. Patience is not passive. It is the highest form of faith. And when you walk in faith, you walk in harmony with life itself. There is an old path that winds through the pine forest behind the temple. I often walk it in the late afternoon, when the golden light filters through the tall trunks, and the air hums softly with the songs of unseen birds. The path is narrow, lined with moss and fallen needles, and along the way, small branches sometimes cross it. At first, when I was younger, I would stoop to clear them away, eager to keep the way open and neat. But over time, I learned to simply step around them, to let the path be what it was. Not every obstacle needs to be removed. Not every turn needs to be straightened. Some things are meant to be as they are. And so it is with life. Many who come to me are holding on, tightly gripping their desires, their fears, their plans. If I let go, they ask, won't everything fall apart? Won't I lose what I want most? But here is the paradox. Dear one, it is in letting go that we make space to receive. Have you ever tried to hold water in your hands? The tighter you squeeze, the faster it slips away. But when you cup your palms gently, open and relaxed, the water rests easily within them. So too with the blessings of life. I remember a story from my early days of study. A farmer came to the monastery, weary and anxious. He had worked his fields with relentless effort, hoping for a bountiful harvest. Yet the rains had not come as expected. "I have done everything," he said. "I have tilled and planted and prayed, but still, nothing grows." My teacher smiled and asked, "And what do you do now?" "I go each day and worry over the seeds. I check them constantly. I pull at the sprouts, trying to help them grow." The master shook his head gently. But by pulling, you uproot them. By worrying, you disturb their growth. What if you simply tended them with care, then allowed nature to take its course?" You see, letting go does not mean giving up. It does not mean abandoning your dreams or desires. It means releasing the need to control how and when they come to fruition. It means tending to your life with love and presence, and then allowing the universe to weave its greater plan. When we cling out of fear, out of desperation, we create resistance. We close the door to the very flow we seek. Imagine a door locked tight. You may pound on it with all your strength, yet it will not open. But if you step back, breathe, and gently turn the handle, you may find it was never locked at all. One of the greatest teachings in Buddhism is the truth of impermanence. Everything changes. Everything flows. Nothing can be grasped forever, not success, not love, not even life itself. When we resist this truth, we suffer. But when we accept it, when we surrender to the flow, we find peace. And in that peace, life begins to move with us, not against us. A woman once came to me, grieving the loss of a relationship. "I cannot let go," she wept. "It was everything to me." I listened, then asked her to walk with me to the river. We stood by the bank, watching the water rush past. "Can you hold this river?" I asked. "Of course not," she said. "And yet it nourishes the land, carries life, shapes the stones. It does all this by flowing freely." What if love, too, is meant to flow, not to be held captive, but to be honored and released when the time comes? Letting go is an act of trust. It is saying to life, "I believe you know what is best. I am open to the unknown. I am willing to receive what is meant for me." When we let go, we clear the space, and in that space, miracles can enter. I have seen it again and again. The man who releases his need to control his career path, only to find a new opportunity appear. The woman who releases her fear of being alone, only to discover deep friendships blossoming around her. The soul who releases past wounds, only to feel lightness and joy return. As you listen now, perhaps there is something you are holding too tightly. A dream, a worry, a grief, a need to know how life will unfold. I invite you, breathe deeply, and with your out-breath, imagine setting it down just for this moment. Trust that you do not need to carry it alone. Trust that the universe is already moving in ways you cannot yet see. There is a saying I often return to: "When I let go of what I am, I become what I might be." Oh, when you let go, you do not lose yourself. You discover your deeper self. You create the space for life to surprise you, to delight you, to bless you beyond your imagining. So rest now. Dear one, release the grip. Open your heart. Let life flow. And know, what is meant for you will never miss you. And what is not meant for you cannot be forced to stay. In this wisdom, there is freedom. And in freedom, there is peace. In the quiet moments after the rains, when the forest breathes in the cool mist, I often walk beneath the tall oaks and maples. There is a particular clearing, where sunlight breaks through the canopy and falls in soft golden beams upon the mossy earth. I like to sit there, listening, watching how life stirs gently all around the small birds flitting from branch to branch, the slow curl of new ferns unfurling. Nature never questions its worth. The oak does not doubt if it deserves sunlight. The river does not question if it deserves to flow to the sea. The stars do not wonder if they are worthy to shine. And yet, how often do we, as human beings, carry the quiet belief that we are not enough? Many who come to me speak of their longing to attract a better life, a fulfilling career, loving relationships, inner peace. But beneath their words, I often sense an unseen barrier, the hidden belief that they are somehow unworthy of such goodness. I want love, but perhaps I do not deserve it. I wish for abundance, but I have failed. Before, maybe I'm not meant for success. And so they send out to the universe, not the vibration of openness, but the energy of lack, of self-doubt. You see, dear one, the universe does not simply respond to what we say we want. It responds to what we believe we deserve. If you walk through life with the quiet belief that you are unworthy of joy, of love, of abundance, then your actions, your energy, your choices will reflect that belief. Opportunities may arise, but you will shrink from them. Love may knock, but you will close the door. Peace may whisper, but you will drown it in the noise of your own self-judgment. But when you shift your belief, when you begin to recognize your inherent worth, everything begins to change. I once knew a gardener who tended the temple grounds. For years, he worked quietly, never asking for help or acknowledgement. One day, after many seasons, he confided to me, I always thought others deserved beauty, not me. I planted the flowers for them, not believing I could enjoy them too. I smiled gently, and yet here you are, surrounded by blossoms. Have they asked who deserves to see them? He looked around, tears in his eyes. No, he whispered, they bloom for all. And life, too, blooms for all. Not for the worthy few, not for the perfect, but for all who are willing to receive. The first step is to recognize this simple truth. You are enough. You are worthy of love, of peace, of joy, not because of what you have done, but because you are alive, because you are a part of this great, unfolding universe. The stars do not earn their right to shine. They shine because that is their nature. And so it is with you. When you begin to believe, truly believe that you are deserving of goodness, your energy shifts. You walk with greater ease. You speak with more warmth. You open your heart to life. And the universe, sensing this shift, responds. Opportunities begin to appear where once there were none. Relationships deepen. Paths open. Peace flows more freely. I have seen it time and again. The one who once feared love begins to trust and is met with kindness. The one who doubted their gifts steps forward and finds new purpose. The one who believed abundance was for others begins to welcome it for themselves. As you listen now, I invite you to reflect. What quiet beliefs have you been carrying? Are there whispers within that say, not for me, not yet, not enough? If so, know this. Those are not truths. They are old stories, woven from past hurts, from others' judgments, from moments long gone, and like leaves carried on the wind, they can be released. Take a breath with me now. Inhale deeply, and as you exhale, imagine releasing those old beliefs. Let them drift away, like autumn leaves upon the stream. Then, with each new breath, plant a new seed within. I am worthy of love. Ever one. I am deserving of peace. Ever one. I welcome abundance into my life. Ever one. Say these not as distant wishes, but as truths already unfolding. Because the more you align your belief with your deepest worth, the more the universe will reflect that truth back to you. You attract what you believe you deserve. Believe in your worth. Dear one, walk gently in this truth. Let it color your days, soften your heart, and open the door to all that life longs to give you. There is a small lake not far from the temple. Early in the morning, when the wind is still, the surface of the water becomes a perfect mirror reflecting the sky, the trees, even the passing flight of birds. I often sit by its edge, watching, and I am reminded, when the lake is calm, it reflects clearly. When the mind is calm, so too does life reflect back to us what we seek. Many believe that manifestation is about effort, about doing more, striving harder, pushing faster. But in truth, one of the most powerful forms of manifestation is calmness. You see, the energy you carry is like a beacon to the universe. When you move through life with frantic energy and patience, anxiety, desperation, you send out signals of dissonance, and life, responding to that, often brings more of the same: delays, confusion, resistance. But when you cultivate calmness, when you move with presence, trust, and ease, you send out a different signal altogether. A signal of readiness, a signal of alignment, a signal that says, I trust life, I trust the unfolding, I am open to receive. Think of it like a garden. When the soil is hard and dry, the seeds struggle to take root. But when the soil is soft, nourished, and open, life springs forth with ease. Calmness is the fertile soil of manifestation. I once knew a musician who longed for inspiration. He chased it restlessly, composing late into the night, forcing melodies, straining for brilliance. But the more he pushed, the more elusive inspiration became. Frustrated, he came to the temple, seeking guidance. I told him simply, stop chasing, sit by the lake, listen, be still. End quote. He did. And in the stillness, inspiration came softly at first, like a distant song, then flowing freely. When we release the need to force life, we create space for it to flow to us. Calmness is not passivity. It is the art of aligned action. It is moving from a place of inner peace rather than outer pressure. Have you ever noticed, when you are calm, conversations flow more easily, decisions come with greater clarity, opportunities arise without strain? It is not that life suddenly changes, it is that your energy shifts and life responds in kind. In Buddhism, we teach that the outer world mirrors the inner world. When you cultivate peace within, you begin to see it reflected without. A woman once asked me, Master, how can I attract love? I replied, first, become love. Become the calm, open space where love feels welcome to dwell. The same is true for all you seek, be it abundance, healing, purpose, or joy. Cultivate the calm space within where these blessings can take root. As you listen now, perhaps you feel the gentle rhythm of your breath. With each inhale, Invite calmness in. With each exhale, release tension. Release striving. Know this, your calmness is not empty. It is a powerful forcia magnetic energy that draws to you what is aligned with your true self. When you are calm, you see opportunities where once there was only noise. You recognize synchronicities that guide your path. You attract relationships that mirror your inner peace. And most of all, you become attuned to the subtle flow of life, the quiet nudges, the unseen support, the effortless unfolding. Dear one, if there is one truth I would offer today, it is this: calmness itself is a manifestation. You need not always push harder. Sometimes, the greatest power lies in softening, in trusting, in allowing life to come to you. So as you rest now, I invite you, return to your breath. Let it be slow, gentle, natural. Feel the calmness blooming within like the quiet unfolding of a lotus in the dawn light. Know that in this calm state, you are already aligned with the flow of life, and what is meant for you is already making its way toward you quietly, gently, surely. Be the calm lake, be the open garden, and watch how life reflects your inner peace in ways both simple and miraculous. There is an unseen conversation always happening between us and the universe, not with words, not with thoughts alone, but with energy, with the subtle vibration we carry in each moment. Just as a tuning fork hums at a certain frequency, so too do we emit an energy of vibration through the way we think, feel, and move through the world. And the universe, ever attuned, responds not to what we say we want, but to what we are truly vibrating. I often explain this to visitors of the temple. Master, they ask, I keep asking for peace, for abundance, for love, but why does life not give it to me? And I gently ask, when you ask, from what place do you ask? From trust or from fear? From fullness or from lack? You see, dear one, if beneath your words there lies desperation and anxious, grasping energy, then that is the true vibration you are sending forth. And the universe, like an echo, returns the same. I once sat with a young man, restless and weary. I have tried every technique, he said. Vision boards, affirmations, relentless action, yet nothing seems to come. Why? I looked at him kindly. Because all you're trying is soaked in fear. You are not vibrating trust. You are vibrating need. And need only calls forth more need. Imagine a radio. If you tune it to a frequency of static and noise, you will not receive a clear song. But when you tune it to a pure frequency, the music flows easily. Your energy works the same way. When you vibrate with calm, with trust, with joy, the universe responds in harmony. When you vibrate with fear, with urgency, with desperation, the universe mirrors that back. In the stillness of the forest, this truth becomes clear. Birds do not sing to be heard. They sing because song is their nature. Flowers do not bloom to please. They bloom because it is their time. And the river does not rush to reach the sea it flows because flowing is its essence. There is no desperation in nature, only pure being, pure vibration. When you align your energy with trust, with a sense of enoughness, you become like the river flowing effortlessly toward your desires. Many mistake effort for alignment, but no amount of forcing can override the vibration you carry. You may take 100 actions, but if beneath them lies anxiety, the results will reflect that. Conversely, when you act from a place of deep calm and trust, even the simplest actions become powerful. A story. There was once a merchant who desperately sought prosperity. He worked tirelessly, worried constantly, chased every opportunity, but abundance eluded him. One day, weary, he came to rest beneath a great oak. There, in the stillness, he finally released his striving. Abe breathed deeply, felt the earth beneath him, and allowed peace to rise within. In that moment, an old friend happened by offering him an opportunity that would change his fortunes, not because he forced it, but because his vibration had shifted to openness. The same is true for us. When we release the grip of desperation, when we cultivate calm presence, life responds in unexpected ways. The phone call arrives, the chance meeting unfolds, the long-desired shift occurs, not as a result of frantic effort, but as a reflection of your aligned energy. As you rest now, notice your own energy. Does it hum with ease, or with tension, with openness, or with grasping? There is no need to judgingly to notice, and with each breath, you can choose to shift. Breathe in calm, breathe out resistance, breathe in trust, breathe out fear. Each breath is an act of alignment. Remember, the universe is not deaf to your words, but it is far more responsive to your vibration. Walk through life as though what you desire is already on its way, not in arrogance, but in quiet confidence, not in demand, but in deep trust. When you embody this energy, life mirrors it back in ways you cannot predict. I have seen this in my own life. When I rushed, when I grasped, doors remained closed. But when I breathed, trusted, and moved with ease, the right paths unfolded. You do not need to chase life. You need only to align with it. Be like the sun, rising steady, inevitable, without strain. Be like the mountain rooted, present, unmoved by fleeting winds. Be like the stream flowing, receptive, trusting in its course. The universe is always listening, not just to your words, but to your being. Let your vibration speak of trust, of joy, of gratitude, and watch as life responds in kind. So now, dear one, as you prepare to rest, let these truths settle within you. You are enough. Life is unfolding. What you seek is seeking you. And the more you rest in this knowing, the more life will rise to meet you. There is a stone path that circles the temple garden. Each morning, I walk it slowly bare feet upon the cool stones, feeling the earth beneath me. Some days, clouds gather, and the wind stirs the branches. Other days, the sun shines gently upon my shoulders. But whether the sky is bright or gray, I do not try to command the weather. I simply walk. I breathe. I allow the day to be what it is. And this is a truth life often teaches us. The more we try to control, the more we block the very flow we seek. It is natural to want to shape our lives, to plan, to prepare, to ensure things unfold as we desire. Yet so often, in this grasping for control, we create resistance. I once knew a young artist. She was talented, but perfection haunted her. Every brush stroke, every color she tried to force into an ideal vision. And in doing so, she lost the joy of painting. The canvas felt heavy. Inspiration fled. One day, weary, She came to me. "Master, why does my art no longer flow?" I invited her to the forest stream. "Watch," I said. "Does the stream control its path? Does it command each pebble, each bend?" She shook her head. "It simply flows." I continued, "And in its flow, it carves beauty." When we try to control every outcome, when we grip life too tightly, we block its natural wisdom. Imagine holding sand in your palm. Grip too hard, and it slips through your fingers. Hold gently, and it rests with ease. The same is true with our dreams, our relationships, our well-being. The more we micromanage, the more we choke the space for life to breathe, for possibilities to arise. Control often comes from fear. Fear that if we do not manage every detail, things will fall apart. Fear that without our constant intervention, life will not deliver what we hope for. But this fear blinds us to a deeper truth. Life has its own intelligence, a wisdom far greater than our limited plans. I recall a farmer from a nearby village. In his early years, he obsessed over his crops watering too often, fretting over each change in weather, but his harvests remained poor. In time, an elder taught him, trust the seasons, tend with care, but do not fight the rhythm of the earth. When he learned to do less watering mindfully, allowing the soil to breathe, his fields flourished, not from more control, but from aligned action and trust. The same principle applies to all of life. When you cling tightly to a relationship, it often suffocates. When you obsess over an outcome, it slips away. When you force your path, doors remain closed. But when you act with clarity, then release attachment, possibilities open. This does not mean we become passive. It means we shift from controlling to collaborating with life. We take inspired action, but we let go of rigid expectations. I often teach this through breath work. When you try to force your breath, holding it, pushing it, you create tension. But when you allow the breath to flow naturally, calm arises. Life breathes us in the same way. When we align with its flow, ease follows. As you listen now, perhaps notice, where in your life are you gripping too tightly? A goal? A relationship? A timeline? Simply observe. No judgment. And with each gentle breath, invite a little more space, a little more trust. There is wisdom in knowing what is yours to guide and what is beyond your grasp. The river knows how to reach the sea. The seed knows when to sprout. The heart knows when to heal. When we step back from forcing, we allow the intelligence of life to do its sacred work. And often, what unfolds surpasses what we could have ever controlled. A simple practice. When you feel yourself grasping, pause. Place your hand gently over your heart. Breathe. Whisper inwardly, I trust the flow. I release the need to control. Ori. Repeat as needed. And notice how tension softens, how clarity returns. Remember, dear one, the more you try to control, the more you block. But when you let go and you create space, miracles can enter. The bird does not control the wind, it rides it. The flower does not force its bloom, it opens in its own time. And so can we learn to live not in resistance, but in harmony. So tonight, as you rest, ask yourself gently, where can I loosen my grip? Where can I allow life to meet me halfway? Know this, letting go is not losing. It is partnering with the greater flow. It is choosing peace over struggle. And in that choice, You align with the vast intelligence of the universe. Walk softly, trust deeply, and watch how life unfolds in ways beyond your imagining. There is a clearing deep within the forest, far from the hum of the village. I often go there when the weight of the world feels too loud. No footsteps, no voices, only the hush of leaves in the wind, the distant call of an owl, the heartbeat of the earth beneath my feet. In that space, I remember a simple truth. Silence speaks louder than noise. In the world beyond the trees, noise is constant. Phones buzzing, news flashing, opinions shouted. Even within, our minds echo with endless chatter. What must be done? What might go wrong? What others may think? But beneath this surface noise, there is a deeper current, a place where wisdom whispers. And to hear it, we must first grow quiet. I once asked a student, when was the last time you truly listened to the wind? To your breath? To your own heart? She paused, tears welling. I cannot remember. So many lives disconnected, not from lack of intelligence, but from lack of space. Space to listen, space to feel, space to simply be. In Buddhism, we say the still mind is like a clear lake. When the waters are calm, you can see to the very depths, but when stirred by thought, by noise, by endless doing, the surface clouds. The depths remain hidden. The same is true of life's guidance. When you are lost in noise, you miss the subtle signs, the quiet nudge, the gentle synchronicity, the truth rising from within. I remember a time in my own life. Early in my training, I sought answers through study, through questioning, through relentless effort. But the more I sought, the more confused I became. One evening, my teacher found me pacing. You will not find the answers in movement alone. He said, go to the forest, sit, listen. And I did. At first, all I heard was my own restless mind. But as the hours passed, as I surrendered to the stillness, a deeper clarity began to emerge. Silence is not emptiness. It is the space where truth resides. Many today fear silence. They fill every moment with distraction music, conversation, tasks, because in silence, they must face themselves. But it is only by turning inward that true wisdom arises. Have you noticed? Some of life's greatest insights come not when you are speaking, but when you are listening. Not when you are acting, but when you are still. The great trees do not rush to grow. They stand in stillness, year after year, reaching ever upward, roots deepening with each silent season. And in their presence, we too can remember. Stillness is a teacher. So often, we seek to manifest through words, through action, but sometimes the greatest manifestation is created in the quiet space between breaths. When you cultivate inner silence, you become receptive to guidance. You align with the deeper flow. You act not from reaction, but from wisdom. A story. An elder came to our temple once, troubled by a great decision. I have sought advice from many. He said, but the more I hear, the more confused I become. And to cry, I led him to the garden. Sit here, I said. Say nothing. Listen to the wind, to the earth beneath you, to your own breath. Hours passed. When he rose, his face was peaceful. I have heard no words, he said, but now I know what to do. In the silence, we reconnect with the wisdom already within us. As you listen now, perhaps notice the spaces between my words, the pause, the quiet. Let them be invitations, not gaps to be filled, but doorways to deeper presence. You do not need to fill every moment. You do not need to have all the answers now. Sometimes, the most powerful thing you can do is be still. In that stillness, life speaks. The path becomes clearer. The heart softens. The mind unclenches. And from this space, aligned action arises not from fear, but from wisdom, not from force, but from flow. As you move through your days, I invite you, make space for silence, a morning walk without your phone, a few breaths before each task, an evening of quiet reflection beneath the stars. In these moments, you reconnect with the deeper rhythm of life, and you remember, you are not here to shout the world. You are here to attune to the quiet song beneath it all. Be like the mountain-rooted, silent, vast. Be like the night sky still, yet filled with infinite potential. Be like the forest alive in every cell, yet deeply at peace. Silence speaks louder than noise. In its embrace, you hear what truly matters. And in that knowing, you become aligned with the deepest flow of life. So rest now, dear one. Let the noise fade. Let the stillness rise. And listen, for life is always speaking when we are ready to hear. After the long winter, there is a moment subtle, easily missed when the earth begins to stir. The snow melts, seeps into the soil. Tiny buds swell upon the bare branches. The air holds a new softness. Yet no one commands the flowers to bloom on a certain day. No decree tells the rivers when to swell with melted snow. Nature moves in its own rhythm, guided by an intelligence older than words. And in this, there is a lesson for us all. Trust the timing of life. In the stillness of the temple, many come to me, their hearts heavy with impatience. Why is it taking so long? When will my dreams come? What if it never happens? It is a common fear. We live in a world of urgency, instant messages, rapid results, next day delivery, and so we begin to believe life, too, should unfold at this pace. But the soul has its own seasons, and the universe its own perfect timing. I once knew a young monk, eager to master meditation. "How long will it take?" he asked on his first day. "As long as it takes," the master replied with a smile. Frustrated, the monk practiced with fierce discipline, sitting for long hours, forcing his breath, willing his mind to be still, yet peace eluded him. One evening, weary, he sat beneath a starlit sky. There, with no effort, no striving, a deep calm arose. He had stopped pushing, and in the letting go, the moment had ripened. Some things cannot be rushed. A child must grow at its own pace. A wound must heal in its own time. A seed must break through the soil when it is ready. And so it is with our dreams, our transformations, or unfoldings. When we grasp too tightly to the when, we create resistance. We bind ourselves to anxiety, to doubt, and in doing so, we close the space where life might surprise us. I often walk by a stand of wildflowers in late spring. Each year, they bloom not by force, but by readiness. No two flowers open on the same day. Each responds to the sun, the warmth, the unseen call of the earth. The same intelligence moves through our lives. What is meant for you is already making its way, not on your schedule, but on the timeline most aligned with your growth, your readiness, your highest good. Have you ever looked back and seen this? How what once seemed a delay was, in truth, preparation. How the job that did not come made space for a better one. How the relationship that ended opened the heart for deeper love. How the unanswered prayer led to a wiser path. Life is weaving a tapestry we cannot yet see. Each thread, each pause, each detour part of a greater design. To trust the timing is not to be passive. It is to act with intention. To plant the seeds, then release the need to control when and how they grow. Imagine a gardener. She prepares the soil, plants with care, waters mindfully, but she does not tug at the shoots, demanding they grow faster. She knows the sun, the rain, the unseen life within the seed will do their work in time. We, too, must learn this patience, to do our part, then surrender the rest to the greater rhythm. A practice. When impatience arises, pause. Place your hand on your heart. Breathe gently. Whisper inwardly, I trust the timing of my life. Each time you do, you soften the grip of fear. You open to the flow. You create space for life's quiet miracles to unfold. Remember, the universe is always working, even when you cannot see it. The roots grow in darkness before the flower blooms. The stars move unseen before the dawn. In trusting the timing, you free yourself to live fully now. Not trapped in when will it come, but anchored in this moment is enough. And from this space, life often moves more swiftly, more gracefully. I have seen this again and again. Those who chase time grow weary. Those who trust time walk in peace. And often, it is in their peace that the doors open. So rest now. Dear one, let go of the need to rush. Let life unfold in its perfect rhythm. Know that what is meant for you is already on its way, and in the waiting, you are being shaped. Riadit. Prepared. Trust the timing. Trust the unseen threads weaving your path. Trust that life knows the way, even when you do not. As the river flows to the sea, as the stars wheel across the sky, so too does your life move toward its destined becoming. Breathe, rest, trust. The season will come, and when it does, you will be ready. In late summer, when the air grows heavy with warmth and the fields hum with life, I often sit beneath an old willow by the river's edge. There, I watch the current flow effortless, unhurried, knowing its way. No stone holds it back for long. No bend in its course brings struggle. The river teaches us a simple truth. When we let go, we make space for life to move through us. And in that space, miracles arise. Many who visit the temple come burdened not only with desires, but with tight grasping. I must make it happen. They say, I cannot fail. I cannot lose this. And in that grip, they squeeze life too tightly, like trying to catch the wind in closed fists. But life is not meant to be controlled, so it is meant to be danced with, partnered with through openness, not force. I once knew a fisherman who longed for a great catch. Each day, he sailed farther, cast more nets, worried more, yet his nets came back empty. One day, weary, He set aside his striving. It drifted quietly, letting the current guide his boat. And there, without effort, the fish found him. You see, when we let goof control of fear, of rigid expectations, we open the door for life to surprise us. Miracles are not born of tension. They are born of space. When your heart is clenched, little can enter. When it is open, much can flow. Often, letting go is misunderstood. It is not giving up. It is not abandoning your dreams. It is releasing the attachment to how and when they must come. It is saying to life, I trust you. I trust the path. I trust that what is meant for me will arrive in its time. And in that trust, you create room for unseen blessings. Imagine planting a seed. You prepare the soil, plant it with care. But if each day you dig it up to check its progress, you disturb its growth. Far better to tend the soil, water gently, and allow nature to work unseen. The same is true for our desires. When we release the grip, we allow life's deeper intelligence to unfold. I remember a woman who longed for love. For years, she sought it with growing despair. Why does it not come? She asked. Because your heart is filled with fear. I told her, release the fear. Live fully now. Let love find its own way to you. When she finally did, when she began to live with joy, to trust the unfolding love arrived. Quietly, unexpectedly, when we let go, we step out of our own way. We allow the current to carry us. We become open to possibilities we had not imagined. I have seen this again and again. The artist who releases perfection, and inspiration flows. The seeker who releases doubt, and guidance appears. The heart that releases old pain, and new joy blossoms. A practice. Reflect, what are you holding too tightly? A dream? A timeline? A fear of loss? Breathe deeply, and as you exhale, imagine loosening your grip. Trust that life knows what it is doing. Letting go does not mean you cease to care. It means you care deeply enough to trust. Consider the birds at dawn. They sing not because they control the day, but because they trust the light will come. Consider the trees. They release their leaves in autumn, not in despair, but in trust that new growth will return. Life moves in cycles, in rhythms beyond our grasp. And when we align with this flow, when we release our grip, we invite grace. It is often when we stop chasing that what we seek begins to find us. So now, dear one, as you listen, consider, where might you let go? What might you release? To create space for miracles? Breathe, trust, allow. Know this, life longs to surprise you, to delight you, but it can only do so when you make room. As the river flows, as the stars turn, so too does your life move toward its unfolding. You need not force it. You need only to let go and trust the dance. For in the space of surrender, miracles are born. There is a path that winds through the wildflower meadow beyond the temple. In late spring, it bursts with color violet lupines, golden asters, delicate white daisies. Each flower blooms as it is without question, without comparison. The daisy does not wonder if it deserves the sun. The aster does not doubt its place among the others. They bloom because blooming is their nature. And so it is with us. We attract what we believe we deserve. Yet many walk through life with hidden doubts. Am I worthy of love? Do I deserve success? Is happiness meant for others, but not for me? These unseen beliefs shape the energy we carry, and that energy whispers to life, "This is what I expect. This is what I will allow." And I once knew a gifted poet. Her words sang with beauty, but she believed she was unworthy of recognition. Each time opportunity arose, she would shrink back. "I am not ready," she would say. "Who am I to share my voice?" And so life mirrored her belief. Doors remained closed. Invitations faded. One day, we sat beneath the tall pines. "The world reflects what you believe," I told her. "If you do not believe you deserve to be heard, life will echo that." End quote. She was silent, tears glistening. It begins within. When you shift your belief, when you begin to embody worthiness, life responds. This is not arrogance. It is a quiet knowing. I am enough. I am worthy of love, of joy, of abundance, and not because I am perfect, but because I am alive. Have you noticed? Those who believe they deserve kindness often receive it. Those who expect rejection often encounter it. Those who walk with quiet confidence often find doors opening before them. The universe is not a judge. It is a mirror. It reflects back to you the energy you send forth. Consider the deer in the forest. It moves with gentle assurance, trusting its place within the great web of life. It does not question its right to drink from the stream, to rest beneath the trees. So too must we remember, we are part of this great unfolding. We do not need to earn worthiness. We need only to recognize it within. I remember a man from the nearby Tona Carpenter, kind and diligent. For years, he worked quietly, refusing better opportunities. "I am just a simple man," he would say. "I do not deserve more." And 42, but life sensed his belief and responded accordingly. One spring, after many conversations beneath the old maple tree, he began to shift. "Perhaps," he whispered one day, "perhaps I am worthy of more." And 42, and from that shift, new paths, open unexpected commissions, new friendships, a sense of purpose that had long been buried. When you believe you deserve goodness, you walk in alignment with it. You stop turning away from opportunities. You stop shrinking from love. You allow life to give freely to you. A simple practice. Each morning, place your hand upon your heart. Whisper softly, "I am worthy of love. I am worthy of peace. I am worthy of the life I seek." At first, old doubts may arise. Be gentle. They are old stories, not truths. With time, with practice, new roots of belief will grow. When you carry this inner knowing, your vibration shifts. You walk differently. You speak differently. You meet life with openness rather than fear. A young woman once asked me, "But Master, how do I know if I truly believe I am worthy?" "Notice how you receive," I replied. "When someone offers kindness, do you shrink from it? When an opportunity arises, do you doubt yourself? These are the mirrors. Oh, to change your outer life, begin with your inner dialogue. Speak to yourself as you would to a dear friend. Remind yourself daily, "I am worthy. I am enough." Of class, and in time, life will reflect this truth back to you. The poet I mentioned when she began to claim her worth, to believe her voice, mattered opportunities flowed. Invitations arrived. Her words reached those they were meant to touch. It was not magic. It was alignment. So reflect now. Dear one, What quiet beliefs have shaped your life? Where might you soften? Release the old. Plant new seeds, perhaps in love. You have believed yourself unworthy of a deep connection, perhaps in work. You have believed success was not for you, perhaps in life itself. You have believed happiness is reserved for others. Know this, these are not truths. They are stories, and stories can be rewritten. Begin now, gently, with kindness toward yourself, and as you do, you will notice the love you seek feels safe to enter. The abundance you desire finds an open path. The peace you long for arises naturally. You attract what you believe you deserve. So, believe in your worth. Nurture it. Let it shine through your being. And watch how life, like the meadow, blooms around you. There is a pond deep in the forest, not far from the old stone bridge. Few travelers pass by it, for the trail is narrow, almost hidden beneath the ferns. But those who do, and who pause, are often surprised, for when the wind is still, the surface of that pond becomes glass, reflecting the sky, the trees, even the wings of a passing dragonfly. When I sit by that pond, I am reminded, calmness is not emptiness, it is clarity, it is presence, and in that calm presence, life reflects beauty back to us. So many believe that to attract what they desire, they must hustle harder, do more, push relentlessly. Yet the more they chase, the more life seems to slip through their grasp. I have watched this pattern often. Visitors arrive, weary from their striving. Master, they ask, what else should I do? How can I manifest faster? And often, I reply softly, have you tried doing less? Not less in care, not less in intention, but less in struggle, less in inner resistance, less in the anxious need to control every outcome. For when you embody calmness, you signal to life, I trust, I am open, I am ready, end quote, and life responds. Have you ever noticed when you are at peace, things seem to flow? The conversation that once felt strained becomes natural. The opportunity you chased now finds you. The solution you forced now arises effortlessly. Calmness is a vibration, and it is deeply attractive. Consider the difference between walking into a room filled with tension and one filled with calm. Which draws you in? Which invites openness, trust, connection? The same is true with the universe. When you vibrate with calm trust, you become a magnet for aligned experiences. I remember an old farmer who lived near the forest's edge. Each season, he tended his fields with steady hands, a gentle rhythm. Why do your crops thrive so? Others would ask. He would smile and reply, because I do not fight nature. I work with it. I trust its timing. M blank. That trust, that calm presence, infuses all he does, and the earth responds in kind. You do not need to force life into bloom. You need only to align with its natural unfolding. And calmness is that alignment. It does not mean passivity. It means acting from centeredness, not from panic. A practice, when faced with a challenge. Pause. Take 3 slow breaths. Feel your feet upon the earth. Ask yourself, what would calm, trusting me do next? Act from that space. You will find your actions more effective, your words more resonant, your path more open. A young woman once asked me, Master, How do I become a person who attracts peace? Be peace. I replied, cultivate it within. Let it ripple outward. You cannot draw to you what you do not first embody. If you seek love, cultivate love within. If you seek abundance, cultivate gratitude and openness. If you seek peace, embody calm. The universe meets you where you are, and when you rest in calm presence, you invite life to dance with you, not against you. Have you noticed? A calm stream nourishes life along its banks. A stormy flood often destroys. The same energy flows through us. When we are calm, we hear more clearly. We see more options. We move in flow, not in friction. And from this flow, manifestation becomes natural, effortless, even joyful. So often, it is not more effort we need, but more ease, more spaciousness, more trust in the process. As you listen now, to feel your own breath, let it slow, let it deepen. In this calm space, you are already shifting your energy, already becoming magnetic to what is aligned with your true nature. You need not strive so hard. You need only to align, to trust, to be calm in the unfolding. And in that calm, life will meet you. Perhaps not always in the ways you expect, but often in ways that are even better. So rest now. Dear one, breathe in calm, breathe out resistance. Let yourself soften into the flow, for calmness is not the absence of action. It is aligned action, born of trust. And in this state, you are a powerful magnet for what is meant for you. Trust this, live this, and watch the miracles unfold. There is a gentle truth the forest teaches. When you release what no longer serves, you make room for new life to emerge. In early autumn, the great oaks and maples begin to let go of their leaves, not with sorrow, but with trust. The leaves drift softly to the earth, becoming nourishment for what will come next. The trees do not cling. They do not mourn the falling. They know that letting go is part of the cycle. Without it, spring cannot arrive. I often reflect on this simple wisdom. How often we, as humans, hold on so tightly to old fears, past wounds, rigid expectations, to the illusion of control, and in that clinging, we block the very miracles we long for. Many come to me and say, I have tried everything. I have worked so hard. Why do my dreams still feel out of reach? I ask gently, what might you still be holding too tightly? Sometimes it is an old story, a belief that says I am not enough. Sometimes it is a timeline, a demand that life unfold in a certain way, at a certain speed. Sometimes it is fear of what might happen if we truly let go. But here is the paradox. The more tightly we grasp, the less space we leave for life to flow. Imagine cupping water in your hands. If you squeeze, the water escapes. If you relax, the water rests there easily. Letting go is not giving up. It is not apathy. It is not resignation. It is spaciousness. It is trust. It is saying to life, I open my hands. I open my heart. I trust what is meant for me will come. When you let go, you release the blocks within you. The energy of clinging is heavy. It says to the universe, I do not trust. I must control. I must force. But the energy of surrender is light. It says, I trust. I flow. I am ready to receive. I remember an old fisherman who lived by the northern lake. For years he sought a great catch, always sailing farther, casting more nets, pushing himself harder. One season, exhausted, he chose a different way. He sailed early, dropped anchor in a quiet cove, and rested. No striving, no forcing. He allowed the lake to come to him. That day, the fish gathered in abundance around his boat, not because he had worked harder, because he had let go of the need to chase. The same principle moves through all of life. When you let go of the fear of missing out, you make space for joy. When you let go of the need to prove yourself, you make space for authentic success. When you let go of the past, you make space for new love, new opportunities, new beginnings. I once sat with a woman grieving an old relationship. Her heart was closed, her shoulders tense. I cannot open to love again, she whispered. We walked to the river and watched the water flow. You see how the river moves? I said, it does not stop at a stone. It flows around it. It releases the past and carries on to love again, to live again. You must flow like this river. Let go of what binds you. Letting go can feel frightening. We think, if I release this, will there be nothing left? But nature shows us otherwise. The tree that lets go of its leaves is not diminished. It is prepared for the next season of growth. You, too, are meant to grow, to evolve, to receive new blessings. But for the new to enter, space must be made. A simple practice. Sit quietly. Place your hands, palms up, in your lap. Breathe deeply. With each exhale, imagine releasing something you have clung to. A fear, a regret, a false story. With each inhale, imagine welcoming spaciousness, trust, possibility. Over time, this practice softens the heart. It clears the mind. It opens the flow of life. You may find that what you once chased now comes easily, that what once felt blocked now moves freely, that the miracle you sought was waiting all along, just beyond the grasp of your closed hands. It is in the space of surrender that life surprises us most. You need not know what will come. You need not have all the answers. You need only to trust that by letting go, you make room for what is meant for you. The forest does not mourn the falling leaves. It trusts in the coming spring. So too, can we learn to release with grace, to trust that life, in its wisdom, will fill the space we create with new gifts. Perhaps not always what we imagined, often something greater. So tonight, as you rest, consider, what might you release? Where might you soften? And as you do, know this: you are not losing. You are opening. You are not emptying. You are preparing to be filled. When you let go, you make space for miracles. And in that space, life can finally flow as it was always meant to. There is an old wooden bench beneath a great sycamore near the temple gate. I often sit there in the early morning when the mist still clings to the fields. The world feels hushed, as though holding its breath between the night and the day. At such times, it becomes clear life moves with its own intelligence. There is a deeper current beneath all things, a wisdom beyond what the mind can plan or predict. And when we trust this, when we trust life itself, we step into a flow far greater than our own making. So many are taught to distrust life, to believe that only by constant vigilance, constant effort, can we ensure a good outcome. But life is not an enemy to be battled, nor a puzzle to be solved. Life is a living dance, an unfolding mystery, an ever-evolving teacher. When we approach it with suspicion and control, we move in friction. When we approach it with trust, we move in harmony. Trusting life does not mean that everything will always be easy. It means knowing that whatever arises can be met with grace, can serve a purpose in our growth. The storm nourishes the roots. The night gives meaning to the dawn. The losses carve space for new beginnings. Nothing is wasted when we trust the unfolding. I once knew an old sailor who had spent decades upon the sea. He told me, "I do not fight the waves. I read them. I follow them. I trust the sea to show me the way." The same wisdom applies to life. The more we resist its waves, the more we exhaust ourselves. But when we trust, we begin to dance with life, to move with its rhythms, to allow it to guide us. There is an art to this, an art of listening deeply, listening to the subtle nudges, the quiet intuitions, the unexpected signs. Sometimes life speaks through a chance encounter, sometimes through a delay that saves us from a misstep, sometimes through an inner knowing that says, "Wait," or "Now is the moment." When we cultivate trust, we become attuned to these signals. But if we are too busy controlling, too busy doubting, we miss them. A young man once asked me, "Master, how can I trust life when it has brought me so much pain?" I replied, "The tree that survives the winter is not bitter toward the cold. It knows the season will pass. It trusts that spring will return. So too must we learn. Pain is not proof that life is against us. It is part of life's depth, its richness, its teaching. To trust life is to embrace it fully, the joys and the sorrows, the gains and the losses, and in doing so, we discover a deeper peace, a peace not dependent on outcomes. Trusting life is not blind faith. It is an embodied wisdom, cultivated through presence, through seeing the patterns of life and learning to move with them. It is knowing that life, in its essence, longs for our growth, for our awakening. When we trust life, we open to its surprises, the friend who arrives just when we need them, the opportunity that appears when we release our striving, the clarity that comes when we finally let go. None of this can be forced. All of it flows through trust. A practice to cultivate this trust. Each morning, before beginning your day, pause. Place your feet firmly on the ground. Say softly to yourself, "I trust life. I trust its timing. I trust its wisdom." Repeat this whenever fear arises, whenever doubt creeps in. Over time, these words become a living energy within you. They shift your vibration. They align you with life's deeper flow. Remember, life has carried you through countless moments. Already, you have faced storms you once thought unbearable. You have seen new joys arise. After old sorrows, life knows how to renew itself. It knows how to guide you, if you let it. We do not need to see the whole path. We only need to take the next step in trust. And when we do, life meets us with its quiet magic. I have seen this time and again. The person who lets go of rigid plans finds a new door opening. The one who releases fear finds unexpected courage rising. The heart that softens into trust begins to attract experiences of grace. So much of what we seek lies just beyond the wall of our doubt. When we trust life, that wall begins to dissolve, and we enter a more spacious, more fluid way of being. The river does not demand to know every bend ahead. It flows, sensing the way through through presence. We too can learn this art, the art of trusting life. So, as you rest now, let yourself soften. Release the grip of needing to know. Invite trust into your heart, and know, deep within, that life is always moving in your favor. Even when you cannot yet see how, walk gently, trust deeply, and allow the unfolding, for life is wiser than we know, and it will carry us if we let it. There is a small orchard beyond the temple wall. In late summer, the branches bend low with fruit. Apples, pears, plums, their weight, a quiet testimony to the unseen work of the seasons. No one commands the tree to bear fruit. It does so naturally, as a result of patient trust in the rhythm of life. The rains come, the sun warms, the roots deepen, and in time, abondance apparaît. So too it is with us. Abundance flows where trust resides. It is not forced. It is not manufactured through relentless striving. It is allowed, welcomed, invited through a heart that trusts. Many who come here long for abundance, in many forms: wealth, love, health, peace. But beneath their longing, I often sense tension, the belief that they must chase abundance, capture it, hold it tightly. Yet abundance is not prey to be hunted. It is a current to be joined, and trust is the key that opens this current. When you trust life, when you trust your worth, when you trust that what you need will come, do you relax? Your energy softens. Your actions become aligned, not frantic. And in this space of openness, abundance begins to flow toward you. I once spoke with a merchant who had grown weary. For years, he had pushed his business forward with sheer will. Yet despite his efforts, success remained elusive. He came to me, frustrated. I do everything right. Why does abundance not come? I asked. Do you trust that it will? He was silent. In truth, his energy had been one of fear of loss, fear of lack, fear that no matter how hard he tried, it would not be enough. And that fear had shaped his actions, his vibration, his results. When he began to shift, to trust the value of his work, to trust that the right opportunities would appear, everything began to change. Abundance is not just about material gain. It is about a sense of flow, of sufficiency, of enoughness that permeates your life. And this sense cannot arise from fear. It arises from trust. Trust that you are enough. Trust that life supports you. Trust that there is more than enough for all. The forest teaches this truth. No tree hoards the sunlight. No flower fears that there will not be enough rain. Each receives what it needs, and in turn, contributes to the greater harmony. When we trust, we move out of scarcity. We stop grasping, and in that spaciousness, abundance finds us. Consider how differently you act when you feel abundant. You share more freely. You take inspired action. You meet life with openness, and life, sensing this energy, responds in kind. Trust and abundance feed each other. The more you trust, the more you experience abundance. The more you experience abundance, the more your trust deepens. It becomes a beautiful, upward spiral, a practice to cultivate this each day. Reflect on where abundance already exists in your life. The warmth of the sun, the breath in your body, the kindness of a friend, the beauty of the earth. As you notice these, trust grows, the belief in enoughness expands, and from this expanded state, you begin to attract more of what aligns with your highest good. It is not about pretending there are no challenges. Life will always bring its seasons, but even in winter, the roots of the tree grow stronger. Unseen, trust this process. Trust that beneath the surface, life is preparing blessings you cannot yet see. When you meet life with trust, you open the channels for those blessings to reach you. So many block abundance, not through lack of effort, but through lack of trust. They act from fear, and fear contracts, but trust expands. And where there is expansion, abundance flows. I have witnessed this again and again. The artist who trusts their voice and finds the audience they seek, the healer who trusts their gift and draws those in need, the heart that trusts love and welcomes deeper connection. Abundance flows where trust resides. So tonight, as you prepare to rest, consider, where might you deepen your trust? Where might you soften your grip? What abundance might be waiting? Just beyond the veil of fear, remember, you are already part of life's great abundance. The breath in your lungs, the earth beneath your feet, the stars above your head, all of it reminds you, life is abundant. And when you trust this, when you align with it, you become a natural vessel for its flow. Breathe this truth into your heart and let abundance find you, not through striving, through trust. There is a stone path that circles the meditation garden. Each morning, as the first light touches the dew-draped leaves, I walk that path in silence, not to reach a destination, but to settle more deeply into presence, to remember that peace is not something to be found out there. It is cultivated here. Within, this is the power of inner peace. So many search outward for success, for validation, for answers. But what they truly seek is a feeling, a state of being, the quiet assurance that all is well, even when life swirls around them. And this assurance arises not from changing the outer world, but from harmonizing the inner one. I have seen this again and again. Those who cultivate inner peace become like the still pond, even when the winds blow. Their surface remains clear beneath, and from this stillness, wisdom flows. Right action arises. Opportunities align. Because when we are centered within, we move with greater clarity. We are less reactive, more responsive, less controlled by fear, more guided by intuition. Inner peace is not passive. It is a potent force. It anchors us amidst the currents of life. Without it, even success feels hollow. Without it, even love feels unstable. But with it, we can meet all of life's seasons with grace. Consider the great redwoods. They stand tall, not because they resist the wind, but because their roots run deep. Their strength comes from within. And so it is with us. When we deepen our inner peace, we become resilient, capable of bending without breaking, capable of holding presence in joy and in sorrow alike. A young man once came to me, weary from the pace of the city. I cannot find peace, he said. I asked, where have you been looking? Out there, he replied. In achievement, in distraction, in constant motion. And how has that worked? He lowered his gaze. It has only left me more restless. Peace is not found in the chase. I told him, it is cultivated in stillness, in presence, in being with what is. We sat together beneath the old oak. No words, just breath, just now, and in that simple presence, he began to feel it, the first stirrings of inner peace. Often, it is not more doing we need, but more being, to slow down, to listen within, to rest in the breath, the body, the heart, and from this space, we reconnect with what truly matters. A practice for this. Each day, set aside a few moments to simply be. Seat quietly. Feel the breath moving through you. Notice the sensations in your body. Allow the mind to settle. No need to force. No need to fix. Just be. In this simple practice, over time, the roots of inner peace deepen, and as they do, you will find life meeting you differently. Challenges become opportunities for growth. Conflicts become invitations to deepen compassion. Success becomes an expression of inner alignment, not a substitute for it. The power of inner peace is that it transforms how we move through life. When you are centered, you no longer chase. You attract. You no longer grasp. You receive. You no longer fear change. You flow with it. This is why the cultivation of inner peace is the most foundational practice. It colors all else. It is the ground from which abundance, love, wisdom, and joy can truly arise. Without it, these things may appear, but they will not be sustained. With it, they are nourished, deepened, made whole. So ask yourself gently, how might I deepen my inner peace? Where might I let go of the noise, the striving, the endless reaching? And in that space, what new possibilities might arise? Remember, peace is not the absence of challenges. It is the presence of trust within them. It is the knowing that whatever life brings, you have the capacity to meet it with grace. So tonight, as you rest, let this knowing settle into your being. You do not need to do more to be worthy. You do not need to fix everything to be at peace. You need only to return to yourself, to breathe, to be. And from this space, life will meet you anew. For the power of inner peace is not in what it changes outside, but in how it transforms everything from within. There is a river not far from the temple. It winds through forests and meadows, over stones and around fallen logs, always finding its way. I often sit upon a flat rock near its edge, watching the water move. No matter what lies in its path, the river does not resist. It flows. It dances with the land. It does not cling to one direction, nor fear the next bend. It embraces the flow, and in this, there is great wisdom for us. So often we resist the natural movement of life. We cling to old plans, fixed outcomes, rigid identities. We fear change, uncertainty, the unknown. But life, like the river, is ever moving. It is not static. And when we learn to flow with it, we suffer less. We find greater ease, greater joy. Embracing flow is an act of trust. It says, I do not need to control all things. I trust life's intelligence. I trust the current to guide me. This does not mean we become passive. The river moves with purpose. It carves valleys, nourish lands, creates beauty, but it does so in harmony with what is, not in opposition to it. When we embrace flow, we act with presence, we adapt, we listen, we respond to life as it is, not as we wish it to be. A young artist once came to me. She was struggling, blocked in her work. I cannot force inspiration, she said, but I feel stuck when it does not come. I asked her, how does the river flow? She thought for a moment. It follows the land, she replied, and when there is a rock in its path, it flows around it. Exactly, I said. Inspiration, like life, flows when we stop forcing and start allowing. She began to walk by the river each morning, breathing with its rhythm, allowing her own flow to return. In time, her art blossomed again. When we embrace flow, we honor life's seasons. There are times for action, times for rest, times for planting, times for harvesting, times for holding on, times for letting go. Fighting these rhythms only creates struggle, but when we align with them, life moves with us, not against us. A practice to cultivate this. Begin to notice where you resist flow, where you hold rigid expectations, where you fear change, and gently invite softness there. Ask, what would it feel like to trust this moment, to move with it, not against it? Breathe into that question. Listen for the answer within. Over time, this practice creates greater fluidity in how you live. You become more adaptable, more open, more resilient, and life begins to feel less like a battle, more like a dance. I have witnessed this transformation in many. The leader who learns to listen and adapt and finds greater success. The parent who releases control and finds deeper connection with their children. The seeker who surrenders striving and finds unexpected clarity. Embracing flow does not mean giving up intention. It means holding intention lightly, moving with life, not against it. It is the art of responsiveness, of attunement, and in this way, we become more aligned with life's intelligence. The oak tree does not force its leaves to grow. It trusts the season. The river does not resist the stone. It finds a new path. And so can we. When we release rigid control, we open to life's greater flow. And in that flow, miracles often arise. Unexpected opportunities, new relationships, deeper insights. All of these come more easily when we are moving with life, not against it. So, reflect gently. Where might you embrace flow more fully? Where might you release resistance? Trust life's unfolding. Remember, the river does not need to know every turn ahead. It moves with presence, responding to each moment. You can live this way too. And in doing so, you may find that life carries you farther than force ever could. So tonight, as you rest, breathe into this truth. You do not need to fight the current. You can trust it. You can move with it. And in that movement, you may discover a greater ease, a deeper joy, a more harmonious way of being. For life is not a problem to be solved. It is a river to be embraced, a dance to be joined. Flow with it, and let it carry you to places beyond what you could have planned, beyond the far meadow, Where the land begins to rise toward the hills, there is a small grove of aspen trees. In late autumn, their golden leaves tremble in the breeze. Catching the soft light of the setting sun, I often walk there in the afternoons, simply to sit and watch. The aspens do not resist the coming cold. They do not cling to their leaves when it is time to let them fall. They trust the rhythm of the earth, the turning of the seasons. And in this, they teach a great wisdom, the wisdom of allowing. So often, we are taught to interfere, to correct, to improve every moment. We are taught to judge each experience, to label it good or bad, success or failure. And in this endless evaluation, we create resistance. We tighten around life. But there is another way, a way of allowing things to be as they are, allowing feelings to rise and pass, allowing life to unfold, without needing to force it into our preferred shape. This does not mean passivity. It means presence. It means holding space for life, without constant interference. I once sat with a man who struggled with anxiety. "I fight my thoughts all day," he said, "but the more I fight, the stronger they seem." I invited him to consider, what if you stopped fighting? What if you allowed the thoughts to come and go, like clouds across the sky? At first, he was skeptical, but as he practiced this gentle allowing, something shifted. The thoughts still arose, but with less power, because he was no longer feeding them with resistance. Allowing creates spaciousness, and in spaciousness, peace arises naturally. Consider how the sky holds both sunshine and storm. It does not cling to the sun, nor resist the clouds. It allows, and in this allowing, it remains vast, untroubled at its core. We, too, can cultivate this spacious presence. A simple practice. When a challenging emotion arises, pause, breathe, say inwardly, "I allow this. I do not need to fix it or push it away." Notice how this softens the experience, how it brings a sense of ease, even amidst discomfort. Allowing is not resignation. It is acceptance of what is. In this moment, and from this acceptance, wise action can emerge. When we resist life, we act from fear. When we allow life, we act from clarity. There is wisdom in knowing what to change and what to simply allow. The river allows the stone in its path. It does not need to remove it. It flows around it, and in doing so, it continues its journey with grace. I have seen how this wisdom transforms lives. The parent who allows their child to unfold in their own way and discovers a deeper bond, the leader who allows space for others' ideas and fosters greater innovation, the healer who allows emotions to surface and witnesses deeper healing. In allowing, we honor life's intelligence. We recognize that we do not need to control every detail, that life knows how to move toward balance, toward growth. Allowing also frees us from the burden of constant judgment of ourselves, of others, of life itself. When we allow, we open to greater compassion, to greater patience, to greater joy in the simple presence of being. A question to reflect on. Where might you practice more allowing in your life? Where might you release the grip of judgment, of control? Perhaps in your relationship with yourself, allowing yourself to be as you are, imperfect yet whole. Perhaps in your relationships with others, allowing them their path, their timing, their way of being. perhaps in your relationship with life, allowing each moment to unfold without needing it to match your expectations. As you practice this, you may find a surprising freedom, a deeper breath, a lighter heart, and a greater sense of harmony with all that is. The aspens do not resist the turning of the year. They allow, and in this allowing, they remain part of life's great dance. So too can we learn to allow joy when it comes, to allow sorrow when it comes, to allow uncertainty, to allow the unfolding mystery of our lives. And in this allowing, we discover a peace deeper than certainty, a wisdom deeper than control. For life is fast, and when we stop trying to shrink it into our small preferences, we begin to feel its true depth, its true beauty. So tonight, as you rest, breathe into this truth. You do not need to hold everything so tightly. You can allow, you can trust life to carry you moment by moment. And in that trust, in that allowing, you may find that life surprises you in the most beautiful ways. There is an old wooden table in the temple kitchen. Each morning, as the sun spills through the window, I sit there with a simple bowl of rice and tea. Before eating, I pause. I bring my palms together and offer a silent moment of gratitude for the hands that grew this food, for the earth that nourished it, for the breath that allows me to be here. Now, this small ritual is a reminder. Gratitude is not reserved for grand moments. It is woven into the fabric of each day, each breath, each experience. And in cultivating it, we open a gateway to presence, to joy, to abundance, to transformation. Gratitude shifts our perspective. It moves us from what is lacking to what is here, from what is missing to what is given, from fear to trust. I have seen this countless times. A young student once came to me, lost in dissatisfaction. She listed all that was wrong, all that was lacking in her life. After listening, I invited her to walk with me. We wandered through the garden. I asked her to notice the warmth of the sun, the fragrance of the earth, the song of the sparrow, the breeze upon her skin. Slowly, her expression softened. I asked, "How do you feel now? More present?" She whispered, "More alive." This is the power of gratitude. It awakens us to the richness already present, and in doing so, it changes how life meets us. When we dwell in gratitude, we emit a vibration of openness, of sufficiency, of readiness to receive, and life responds. Abundance flows more easily, relationships deepen, peace expands. Because we are no longer caught in the trance of lack, we are attuned to the fullness of life. This does not mean denying challenges. There will always be joys and sorrows, gains and losses, but gratitude allows us to hold it all with grace, to see the gifts even in difficulty, to remain anchored in appreciation amidst change. Consider the forest after the rain. Leaves glisten with droplets. The air is rich with scent. The earth breathes more deeply. There is a freshness to our renoual. Gratitude works in us the same way. It cleanses the heart of bitterness. It renews our vision. It deepens our connection to life. A simple practice, chaque evening, before rest. Reflect. What am I grateful for today? It need not be grand. A kind word, a moment of beauty, a breath of ease. As you do this, you train the heart to see, to receive, to dwell in appreciation. And in this space, more blessings can enter, for gratitude is generative. The more we give thanks, the more we see to be thankful for. A circle of grace, the elder who tends the temple garden once shared. Each morning, I thank the earth before I touch it, and in return, it nourishes me beyond measure. Gratitude creates relationship with life, with others, with ourselves. When we thank life, we honor its gifts, and life, sensing this honoring, offers more, not as a transaction, but as a natural flow, a deepening of trust, of connection, of harmony. So ask yourself gently, where might I cultivate more gratitude? Where might I shift from complaint to appreciation? Perhaps in your body, for all it carries you through. Perhaps in your relationships, for the simple presence of those you love. Perhaps in your daily life, for the countless small blessings too easily overlooked. As you practice this, you will notice a shift. The world softens, the heart opens, and life becomes more luminous, more abundant, more alive. Gratitude is not a luxury. It is a way of seeing, a way of being, and it is always available, right here, right now. So tonight, as you prepare to rest, breathe into this truth. There is much to be grateful for, and in this gratitude, you open the gateway to deeper peace, to greater joy, to the quiet miracles woven through each moment. Let gratitude be your companion, your practice, your path, and watch how life responds in the most beautiful ways. There is a gentle path that winds through the tall pines near the river. When I walk there, the soft earth beneath my feet, the sunlight filtering through the branches, I am reminded of a simple truth. Harmony is not something to be achieved. It is something to be allowed. To live in harmony is to move in rhythm with life, with others, and with oneself. Not in perfection, but in presence. Not in constant agreement, but in deep respect. It begins within. For how can we live in harmony with the world if we are at war within ourselves? So many carry an inner tension, a voice of harsh judgment, an endless list of shoulds and not enoughs. But true harmony arises when we make peace with ourselves, when we embrace who we are, as we are. In this moment, this is not complacency. It is the soil from which genuine growth can arise. A young man once asked me, "Master, how can I live in greater harmony with others?" I asked him, "How do you speak to yourself?" He was silent for a moment, then confessed, "Often with criticism, with impatience." I smiled gently. "Begin there." I said, "Treat yourself as you wish to treat others." Harmony is contagious. When we are at ease within, we bring ease to those around us. When we listen deeply to ourselves, we become better listeners to others. When we honor our own needs and rhythms, we are more able to honor those of life. Living in harmony does not mean avoiding conflict. It means meeting it with openness, with curiosity, with compassion. It means allowing space for differences, while staying rooted in respect. Consider the forest. So many species of trees, plants, creatures, each with their own way of being. Yet together, they create an ecosystem of balance, of beauty, not by becoming the same, but by coexisting in harmony. We, too, can cultivate this way of living. It begins with presence, with slowing down enough to truly see, to truly hear, to feel the pulse of life within and around us. A simple practice. Each day, take a few moments to connect inward. Place a hand on your heart. Breathe deeply. Ask yourself, how can I move in greater harmony today with my own body and needs, with the people I encounter, with the flow of the day? Let this intention guide your actions. You will find that even simple moments become more graceful. Conversations soften. Tasks flow more smoothly. Connections deepen. Living in harmony also means honoring the seasons of life. There are times for doing and times for resting, times for speaking and times for listening, times for holding on and times for letting go. When we align with these natural rhythms, life feels more spacious, more fluid, more alive. I have seen this in many ways. The leader who learns to listen and fosters a more creative, collaborative team. The couple who embrace each other's differences and grow in deeper love. The individual who honors their own pace and discovers greater well-being. Harmony is not a fixed state. It is a living dance, an ongoing attunement to what is, and like any dance, it requires practice, patience, presence. But the more we cultivate it, the more life meets us in kind. The more we move in rhythm with life, the more doors open, the more joy flows, the more peace deepens. So ask yourself gently, where might I invite more harmony? In my relationship with myself, in my interactions with others, in how I move through each day. Remember, harmony is not about controlling life. It is about listening to it, trusting it, dancing with it. And when we live this way, life becomes less of a struggle, more of a song, a river to flow with, a conversation to be part of, a mystery to embrace. So tonight, as you rest, let this truth settle into your heart. You are part of life's great harmony. You belong to its music. And as you move in alignment with it, you open to a deeper peace, a deeper joy, a deeper way of being. Let this be your practice, your path, your offering to the world, to live in harmony with yourself, with others, with life itself. Beyond the last ridge behind the temple lies an old footpath that few now travel. It winds upward through groves of cedar and fir until it reaches a small clearing. On clear nights, I often go there to sit beneath the stars, in that vast expanse of sky, filled with countless points of light. I am reminded of a simple truth. So much of life is unseen. The roots beneath the earth, the currents within the sea, the wind moving through the trees, and yet, though unseen, they are no less real, no less powerful. The same is true in our lives. There are forces at work beyond what we can perceive, paths unfolding beyond what we can yet imagine, connections forming, opportunities arising, healing occurring often beneath the surface of our awareness. To live fully, we must learn to trust this unseen flow, to trust that life is always moving toward balance, toward growth, toward deeper wisdom, even when we cannot see how. Many who come here struggle with this. They say, I need to see the way. I need to know how it will all work out. I understand this longing. The mind craves certainty. It feels safer when it believes it can predict the future. But life is not a straight path laid out before us. It is an unfolding dance, and much of its movement happens beyond the reach of our eyes. Trusting the unseen is an act of humility. It is saying, I do not know all that is happening, but I trust that life knows, that there is a greater intelligence at play, a deeper wisdom guiding the way. Consider the seed buried in the earth. For weeks, perhaps months, there is no sign of growth above the soil. Yet within the darkness, transformation is occurring. Roots are reaching down, shoots are preparing to rise, and in time, the first green tip emerges. But if we judged only by what we could see, we might assume nothing was happening. In the same way, when our outer life seems still, when progress feels slow, much may be moving beneath the surface. We must learn to trust this unseen growth. A young woman once told me, "I have been working so hard toward my dream, but nothing seems to be happening." I asked her, "What if things are aligning beyond what you can yet see?" She paused, then smiled softly. I hadn't considered that. And with that shift in perspective, her energy softened, her trust deepened, and soon after, new opportunities arose. Not because she forced them, but because she aligned with life's unseen flow. Trusting the unseen requires patience. It requires surrendering the need to control every outcome. It asks us to live with open curiosity, with a heart that says, "I am willing to be surprised, willing to be led, willing to walk even when the path ahead is not fully lit." In truth, this is how all great journeys unfold. One step at a time, one breath at a time, guided by faith as much as by sight. A simple practice. When you feel uncertain, pause, place a hand on your heart, breathe, say inwardly, "Even when I cannot see the way, I trust that life is guiding me." Repeat this as often as needed. Over time, this trust becomes a steady companion, a quiet strength within you. Remember, the stars themselves shine from unimaginable distances. Much of their light began its journey long before we were born. Yet, it reaches us still. So too with the unseen forces moving through your life. What you need may already be on its way. What you seek may already be aligning, even if you cannot yet perceive it. Trust this. Live with this quiet confidence, and you will move with greater ease, greater openness. You will be more able to recognize the subtle signs, the gentle nudges, the synchronicities that guide the way. For when we trust the unseen, we become more attuned to life's deeper intelligence. We become partners in its unfolding. And in this partnership, life often reveals more than we could have planned. So tonight, as you rest, breathe into this, knowing you do not need to see it all. You do not need to control it all. You can trust the unseen, and in that trust, you open to the vast, mysterious, beautiful dance of life. Walk gently, trust deeply, and allow the unseen to work its quiet magic. There is an old clay jar that sits upon the windowsill in the temple kitchen, shaped by the hands of a potter long ago. It is simple in form, un adornet, yet it holds water with ease, and in doing so, it serves its purpose perfectly. It does not strive. It does not seek to be more than it is. It simply allows, and through its openness, it becomes useful. So too can we learn to live, to become vessels through which life can move. When we are filled with striving, with rigid ideas of who we must be, we block this flow. When we cling to control, to certainty, we constrict the space through which life's wisdom can pour. But when we soften, when we open, we become vessels, capable of receiving, capable of giving, capable of allowing life's intelligence to move through us. A musician once visited the temple. He had become frustrated in his work. "I keep trying to write the perfect song," he said, "but the harder I try, the more stuck I feel." I invited him to consider, what if, instead of trying to create, you allowed the music to come through you? He was quiet for a long moment. "I had not thought of it that way," he said. He began to practice this approach, to sit in stillness, to listen, to become a vessel for the melodies that wish to arise. And in time, the music began to flow again, not forced, but received. The same is true in all of life. When we become vessels, we move with greater ease. We no longer carry the heavy burden of making everything happen through will alone. We trust that life itself is creative, abundant, wise, and that when we align with it, when we open to it, life can express itself through us in ways beyond what we could have planned. To become a vessel is an act of surrender, of humility. It is to say, I do not need to know it all. I do not need to do it all. I trust life to move through me, to guide my actions, to inspire my words, to shape my path. This does not mean passivity. The vessel must be strong. It must be well formed, but it must also be open. A closed vessel holds nothing. An open vessel receives, holds, and pours forth. In the same way, when we cultivate inner clarity and openness, we become instruments of life's greater wisdom. We become more attuned to opportunities, more responsive to the needs of the moment, more able to offer our gifts without ego, without fear. A simple practice to cultivate this. Each morning, sit quietly for a few moments. Place your hands, palms up, upon your lap. Breathe deeply and say inwardly, "Today, may I be a vessel for life's wisdom. May I receive what is needed. May I offer what is needed. May I trust the flow." As you move through your day, return to this intention. Notice when you are trying to force, when you are gripping, and gently soften. Return to being a vessel. Trust that life knows how to move through you. I have seen this transformation in many. The teacher who stops trying to control the classroom and instead listens deeply, creating space for authentic learning. The healer who releases attachment to outcome and allows the healing process to unfold naturally. The leader who trusts their team and fosters greater creativity and collaboration. In each case, by becoming a vessel, they allowed greater wisdom, greater connection, greater flow. To live this way is to move beyond the limitations of the small self, to recognize that we are part of a larger intelligence, a greater current, and that when we align with it, we become channels for its expression. This is not mystical. It is deeply practical. It brings greater ease to our work, greater depth to our relationships, greater joy to our days. For we are no longer trying to push the river. We are flowing with it, allowing it to move through us, shaping us, guiding us. So tonight, as you rest, reflect gently. Where might you soften? Where might you open? Where might you trust life to move through you more fully? Remember, you do not need to carry it all. You do not need to force it all. You can be a vessel, strong, open, present, and in that openness, life will move through you in ways more beautiful, more harmonious than you can yet imagine. Let this be your practice, your offering, your way of being, to become a vessel for the wisdom, the love, the creativity, the grace that life longs to pour through you. In the late afternoon, when the sun begins its slow descent behind the hills, the garden falls into a gentle hush. The breeze softens, the shadows lengthen, birdsong kiets into a softer tone. It is during these moments that presence feels most palpable. The simple act of being here, fully, without rushing to the next thing, without leaning into what was or grasping toward what will be, simply present, alive to the now. This is the heart of the practice, to live in presence. For so much of our suffering arises from being caught in the past or projecting into the future. We replay old wounds, regret, missed chances, or worry about what may or may not come, and in doing so, we miss this moment, the only moment where life truly happens. Presence is not an escape from life. It is the deepest engagement with it. To sip tea and truly taste it. To listen to a friend and truly hear them. To walk beneath the sky and feel the earth beneath your feet. Presence brings us home, again and again. I often remind students, you cannot breathe in the future. You cannot breathe in the past. You can only breathe here, now, and each breath is an invitation to return, to settle, to be. A young man once shared with me, "My mind is always racing. I can't seem to be present." I asked him, "What happens when you notice your breath?" He closed his eyes, took a slow inhale, then exhaled. "I feel calmer." He whispered, "More here. That is the doorway." I said, "The breath is always available, always here to anchor us in presence. The more we return, the more natural it becomes. Presence is a practice, not something to master once, but to cultivate each day, ach moment, and over time, it transforms how we live. When we are present, we meet life with clarity. We respond rather than react. We savor rather than rush. We engage rather than avoid. Presence deepens connection with ourselves, with others, with the world around us. When you are fully present with another, they feel it, they soften, they open. For presence is a rare and precious gift. In a world of distraction, to offer presence is an act of love, and to live in presence is an act of liberation. Liberation from the tyranny of endless thinking, from the weight of regret, from the grip of fear. In presence, there is peace, not because all is perfect, but because we are fully here with what is, allowing it, embracing it, trusting it. A simple practice for living in presence. Throughout your day, pause often, feel your breath, notice your body, take in your surroundings. Ask yourself, am I here? And if not, gently return, with kindness, with curiosity, with patience. Presence is not about forcing stillness. It is about relaxing into what is, opening to life as it unfolds, one breath at a time, one step at a time, one moment at a time. I have seen how this transforms lives. The busy parent who learns to be present with their child and discover deeper joy. The leader who brings presence to their team and fosters greater trust. The seeker who stops chasing enlightenment and finds peace in the simple now. Presence is the ground from which all else grows. Wisdom, compassion, joy, creativity. Without presence, we are scattered. With presence, we are whole. So ask yourself gently, Where might I invite more presence? In my morning rituals, in my conversations, in my work, in my rest. Presence is not something to achieve. It is something to remember, to return to, again and again. Each breath, a doorway. Each moment, an invitation. So tonight, as you rest, breathe into this truth. You do not need to be elsewhere. You do not need to be more. You are here, and here is enough. Let this moment hold you. Let this breath guide you. And as you move through life, let presence be your path, your home, your offering to the world. There is a quiet cove along the river, sheltered by willows that dip their slender branches into the water. I often go there in the late hours of the day, when the light grows soft and the river's surface turns to glass. There, the world feels spacious, time slows, and the heart finds room to rest, not to escape life, but to settle more deeply into its embrace. This is what it means to rest in trust, to let go of the need to carry it all, to release the constant striving to figure everything out, and to allow oneself to be held by life. Many come here burdened, worn from effort, heavy with uncertainty. How do I trust? They ask, when so much is unknown, and I tell them, trust is not something we force. It is something we allow. It is a space we create within ourselves, a willingness to rest in the greater current, to say, I may not know the way, but I trust there is a way. I may not see the path, but I trust it is unfolding. I may not control the outcome, but I trust life is moving toward balance, toward wholeness. Resting in trust is an embodied state. It is felt in the breath, in the softening of the shoulders, in the quiet openness of the heart. It is not passive. It is receptive, alive, engaged with life, but no longer grasping. A young woman once asked me, how can I learn to trust more deeply? I invited her to walk with me along the river. As we walked, I asked, do you see how the river moves? Yes, she replied. It flows with ease. Does it know exactly where each stone lies? No. Does it still trust its path? She smiled. Yes, the river does not hesitate. It does not pause in fear of the unknown. It rests in the knowing that its nature is to flow and that life supports this movement. We, too, can live this way, not by eliminating all uncertainty, but by learning to rest within it, to soften into trust, rather than tighten in fear. A simple practice for this. When you notice anxiety arising, pause, feel your breath, place a hand on your heart, and say inwardly, it is safe to rest in trust. It is safe to release the need to know. It is safe to be here. Now, each time you do this, trust deepens, the body remembers, the heart softens, the mind becomes more spacious, and from this space, life often moves with greater ease. Opportunities arise, clarity emerges, solutions unfold, not because we force them, but because we allowed life's deeper intelligence to move through us. Resting in trust is also about honoring timing, recognizing that life unfolds in seasons, that some answers ripen in their own time, that some paths reveal themselves step by step. There is wisdom in patience, in knowing when to act and when to wait. When we rest in trust, we are more attuned to this rhythm, more able to discern when the time is right, and more able to enjoy the journey itself. For life is not only about arriving, it is about being here, now, alive to this breath, this moment, and when we live from this place, trust is no longer something we must remember. It becomes the ground we stand upon, a home within us, a resting place for the heart. I have seen this bring great healing. The parent who learns to trust their child's unfolding, the healer who trusts the body's innate wisdom, the seeker who trusts their own inner knowing. Each finds greater peace, greater clarity, greater joy, not because all questions are answered, but because they have learned to rest in the not knowing, to trust that life is ultimately on their side, and to meet each moment with openness and grace. So ask yourself gently, where might I rest more deeply in trust? Where might I release the grip of control? Where might I allow life to hold me? Remember, you do not walk this path alone. Life is your companion, your teacher, your guide. And when you rest in trust, you are carried, not away from life, but deeper into it, into its mystery, its beauty, its endless unfolding. So tonight, as you settle into rest, let go. Let your breath flow freely. Let your heart soften, and know, deep within, that it is safe to trust, to rest in the embrace of life, to be here, now, held, and enough. There is a small bench beneath an old maple tree in the inner courtyard of the temple. Its wood is worn smooth by many years of sitting. I often go there at dusk, when the lanterns are lit and the sky holds the last hues of the day. In that quiet space, there is a sense of returning, not to a place, but to a deeper part of oneself, to the heart. For in the end, this is where the path leads, back to the heart, the true home. So much of life pulls us outward, into doing, achieving, striving, into roles, identities, expectations. And in the busyness, it is easy to forget, easy to lose touch with the simple presence of the heart. Yet it is always here, waiting, a place of stillness beneath the currents of thought, a place of warmth beneath the winds of change. To return to the heart is to remember who we are beneath the stories, beneath the striving, beneath the noise. It is to come home, to rest in the space of being. I often remind students, the heart is not a place of sentimentality. It is a place of profound wisdom, of deep presence, of unshakable knowing. When we live from the heart, we live in alignment with life. Our actions flow from compassion. Our words arise from truth. Our presence becomes a gift to the world. But when we lose touch with the heart, life becomes fragmented. We become caught in the mind's endless loops, disconnected, restless, seeking without finding. To return to the heart is the simplest and yet most profound practice. It requires no special skill, only the willingness to pause, to listen, to feel. A simple way to begin: seat quietly, place a hand upon your chest, breathe softly, and ask, what is here in my heart right now? Not to analyze, not to fix, simply to notice, to be with whatever arises. Perhaps it is peace, perhaps it is sorrow, perhaps it is longing. All are welcome. The heart is vast enough to hold them all. And in this gentle turning inward, something softens, something opens. We reconnect with our own center, our own truth. Over time, this practice deepens. We learn to live from the heart, not just visit it in moments of quiet. Our choices become clearer. Our relationships become more authentic. Our life becomes more aligned. For the heart knows the way, beneath the noise of the mind, beneath the pull of fear. The heart always knows. It speaks in the language of intuition, of resonance, of deep knowing that cannot always be explained, yet feels unmistakably true. When we honor this knowing, life unfolds with greater harmony. We find ourselves guided in ways beyond logic, supported in ways we could not have planned. But to hear this wisdom, we must return, again and again, especially when life feels uncertain, especially when fear arises, especially when we feel lost. For the heart is the compass that never fails. It points us back to presence, to love, to truth. I have seen this in many lives. The one who, in a moment of choice, pauses to feel into the heart and finds clarity. The one who, amidst grief, turns inward and discovers an unexpected strength. The one who, in the midst of success, returns to the heart and stays grounded in humility and purpose. To return to the heart is not to withdraw from life. It is to engage it more fully, more honestly, more compassionately. For when we live from the heart, we are more attuned to the needs of the moment, more open to connection, more able to move with grace and wisdom. So ask yourself gently, how often do I return to my heart? How might I cultivate this practice more deeply? Perhaps in moments of stillness each day, perhaps before important conversations, perhaps when making decisions, or simply whenever you feel the pull of anxiety, of distraction, of disconnection. The heart is always here, a sanctuary within, a place of wholeness beneath the changing tides of life. So tonight, as you rest, return. Feel the quiet beat of your heart. Feel the breath moving in and out. Know that beneath all doing, all becoming, you are enough. Here, now, in this breath, in this being, let this be your homecoming, your ground, your way of walking in the world, to return again and again to the heart, and to live from its wisdom, its love, its truth, beyond the forest, where the land opens wide beneath the sky. There is a meadow that stretches toward the distant hills. In late spring, it comes alive with wildflowers, golden buttercups, purple lupine, soft white clover, each flower distinct, yet together forming a living tapestry. There, amidst the gentle hum of bees and the whisper of tall grasses, it is easy to remember we are not separate from life. We are part of it. To live as part of the whole is to remember this truth, that we are threads woven into the great fabric of existence, not above it, not apart from it, but intimately connected with the earth beneath us, with the sky above, with the waters that flow and the winds that move, with all beings, seen and unseen. So much of modern life teaches separation, the illusion of the isolated self, the myth of individual control. But this is not how life truly moves. Life is relational, interdependent, a great web where each part touches every other. The breath we take is given by the trees. The food we eat comes from the soil, the sun, the rain. The warmth we feel in the heart often arises in connection with others. To live in harmony with life is to honor this inner being, to recognize that our well-being is tied to the well-being of the whole, that when we care for the earth, we care for ourselves, that when we care for others, we nurture our shared humanity, that when we live with reverence, we align with the deeper intelligence of life. I once spoke with a young student who struggled with purpose. "I do not know what I am meant to do," he said. I invited him to spend time in the meadow, to sit, to observe, to feel. After some days, he returned with new clarity. "I see now," he said, "that I am not separate. That life is not about finding some grand purpose apart from everything. It is about living fully as part of everything. This is the wisdom of living as part of the whole. It is not about doing more. It is about being more attuned, more connected, more present to the ways in which we are already held by life, and to the ways in which we can offer back. When we live this way, life becomes more spacious, more meaningful, more infused with quiet joy. Each act, no matter how small, becomes part of the greater dance. A smile offered, a tree planted, a kindness shared, a moment of stillness honored. All of these ripple outward, touching the whole in ways we may never fully see. Living as part of the whole also brings great freedom. For when we remember our place in the larger web, we release the burden of having to figure it all out alone. We trust the greater intelligence at work. We relax into the flow. We allow ourselves to be guided. A simple practice for this: each morning, before stepping into the day, pause, stand upon the earth, feel its support, breathe with the sky, sense your place within the great web of life, and say inwardly, "Today, may I live in harmony with the whole. May I honor this breath, this body, this earth, this moment." As you move through the day, notice moments of connection, the warmth of sunlight, the song of a bird, a shared smile, a feeling of belonging. Allow these moments to remind you are part of this vast, living universe, not by effort, by nature, by being. And from this knowing, let your actions flow, not from separation, but from connectedness, not from isolation, but from communion. For when we live as part of the whole, life meets us with greater ease. Opportunities align more naturally, relationships deepen more authentically, and the sense of purpose we seek arises organically from the flow of life itself. So tonight, as you rest, breathe into this truth. You are not alone. You are not separate. You are an essential thread in the great fabric of life. And by living in harmony with the whole, you align with the deeper wisdom of the universe. Let this be your way of being, your path, your offering to live fully and freely. As part of the whole, there is a winding path that leads from the temple gate through the forest and down toward the river. It is not a straight path. It curves gently with the land. At times, the way is clear. At times, roots cross the trail, or mist softens the view ahead. Yet each time I walk it, I am reminded the path does not need to be fully seen to be trusted. Step by step, it reveals itself. And in this simple truth lies the essence of walking the path of trust and surrender. For life, too, is such a path. We cannot always see what lies beyond the next turn. We cannot always know which streams we will cross, which clearings we will enter. But we can walk with trust, with a heart open to the unfolding, with a spirit willing to surrender the need to control each moment. Trust and surrender are not passive states. They are dynamic ways of being. To trust is to engage life with openness. To surrender is to release the tight grip of fear. Together, they create a way of moving through the world that is both grounded and free. A young traveler once visited the temple. He was anxious about a great decision before him. "I fear making the wrong choice," he said. I invited him to walk with me along the forest path. As we walked, I asked, "Can you see the entire way ahead?" "No," he replied. "Only this part of the path. Yet, are you able to take the next step?" "Yes." "And so it is with life." I told him, "You do not need to see the whole path, only to trust the next step, and to surrender the need to control what lies beyond it. In doing so, we free ourselves. We move with greater ease. We open to the subtle guidance that life offers along the way. Walking the path of trust and surrender invites us to live more fully in the present, to release the burden of the past, to soften the grasp on imagined futures, and to meet each moment as it comes, with curiosity, with humility, with grace. This path does not promise certainty, but it offers something deeper, a living relationship with life itself, a dance with the unfolding mystery, a profound peace that arises from no longer needing to force the way. A simple practice for this: each morning, as you begin your day, pause, breathe, place your feet firmly upon the earth, and say inwardly, "Today, may I walk in trust. May I surrender what I cannot control. May I open to what life offers." As you move through the day, notice moments when the mind tightens, when fear arises, when the urge to control grows strong. In those moments, return to the breath, to the simple act of being here, now, and gently remind yourself, "I can trust. I can surrender. I can take this next step with openness." Over time, this becomes a way of life, a path walked with increasing freedom, increasing joy. For the more we trust, the more we notice life supporting us in ways both subtle and profound. The conversation that arrives at the right moment, the opportunity that appears when we least expect it, the inner knowing that guides us when logic cannot. These are not accidents. They are the fruits of walking in trust, of living in surrender, of moving with the current rather than against it. I have seen this in many lives. The one who surrenders a long-held plan only to discover a deeper calling. The one who releases control in a relationship and finds greater intimacy. The one who trusts the flow of healing and experiences profound transformation. To walk this path is not to abandon effort. It is to align effort with trust, to act from the heart, not from fear, to move with life, not against it. And in doing so, we find ourselves more at home in the world, more in harmony with its rhythms, more attuned to its wisdom. So ask yourself gently, where might I walk with greater trust? Where might I surrender what no longer serves? Where might I open more fully to life's unfolding? Remember, the path need not be fully seen. You need only trust the step you are on, and the next will reveal itself in time. So tonight, as you rest, breathe into this truth. You are on the path held by life, guided by unseen wisdom, and each step, walked in trust and surrender, carries you deeper into the heart of life itself. Let this be your way of walking, your practice, your gift to the world, to move gently, to trust deeply, to surrender with grace, and to know that, in doing so, you walk the path of true freedom, beyond the final bend of the river, where the water widens and slows. There is a place I often go to sit. The surface shimmers with reflected sky. Birds drift gently upon the current, and the air carries a certain stillness, a quiet sense of blessing. It is here that I often feel it most clearly, the flow of gratitude and grace, not as a concept, but as a felt experience, a current that moves through life, subtle yet steady, always present beneath the noise of the world, always available when we soften enough to feel it. Gratitude opens us to this flow. When we pause to acknowledge the simple gifts of life, the heart opens, and in that opening, grace enters, not as something earned, not as something demanded, but as something received, recognized, welcomed. Grace is life's way of reminding us that we are held, that beauty, kindness, and unexpected blessings move through the world, often in ways beyond our understanding. When we live in gratitude, we become more attuned to these moments. We notice the small wonders, the gentle synchronicities, the quiet miracles woven into the fabric of each day. A simple breath can become a gift. A smile exchanged can become a moment of grace. A shaft of sunlight through the trees can awaken a deep sense of belonging. But to feel this, we must enter the flow, and gratitude is the doorway. A young mother once asked me, "How can I feel more connected to life's goodness?" I invited her to begin with the simplest practice. Each morning, upon waking, to name 3 things she was grateful for. Not grand things, simple ones. The warmth of her child's embrace, the comfort of her home, the gift of another day. As she practiced this, she noticed a shift. Her heart felt lighter. Her days felt more spacious, more filled with grace. For gratitude is not only a response to blessings, it is a way of inviting them, a way of aligning with the deeper flow of life. When we dwell in gratitude, we move with greater ease. We release the grip of scarcity. We open to the abundance already present. And in this openness, grace flows more freely. I have seen this in many lives. The artist who gives thanks for each moment of inspiration and finds creativity flowing with new vitality. The healer who honors each small step of progress and witnesses deeper healing. The elder who blesses each day with appreciation and lives with a quiet radiance. To live in this way is to become a vessel for grace, not by striving, but by opening, by attuning to the gifts that life offers in each moment. Even amidst difficulty, there is grace to be found, a lesson learned, a connection deepened, a new strength discovered. When we meet life with gratitude, we transform how we experience it. The ordinary becomes extraordinary. The simple becomes sacred, and life responds in kind. A practice for entering this flow, each evening, before rest. Pause. Reflect on the day. What moments touched your heart? What simple gifts did you receive? Let your breath flow softly as you name them. Feel the warmth of gratitude arise. And in that warmth, sense the presence of grace. Over time, this practice deepens. Gratitude becomes not an occasional act, but a way of being, a gentle undercurrent that carries you through life. And grace becomes more visible, more tangible, more present in your days. This is not magic. It is the natural result of living in alignment with life's deeper truth, that we are held, that we are part of a larger flow, that beauty and goodness move through the world, awaiting our recognition. So ask yourself gently, where might I invite more gratitude? Where might I attune more fully to grace? Perhaps in the rhythm of your breath, in the kindness of a friend, in the beauty of the natural world, in the simple fact of being here. alive, now, for each moment holds the potential for grace. Each moment offers something to be grateful for, and the more we live in this awareness, the more life reveals its quiet magic. So tonight, as you rest, breathe into this flow. Let gratitude fill your heart. Let grace wash through your being, and know that you are held in this current, now and always. Let this be your path, your practice, your offering, to live each day in the flow of gratitude and grace, and in doing so, to walk gently, joyfully, in harmony with life. There is a stone by the river, worn smooth by years of water and wind. I often sit upon it when the sun is high and the air is warm. No agenda, no intention beyond simply sitting, feeling the stone beneath me, hearing the river's song, noticing the dance of light upon the water. And in these moments, there is a profound sense of ease, a quiet joy that arises not from doing, but from simply being. This is the heart of the practice, the art of simply being, in a world that so often glorifies doing, achieving, becoming. It is easy to forget that to simply be is enough, that we are not defined by our accomplishments, not measured by our productivity, not valued by what we accumulate. At our core, we are beings, not doings. And when we remember this, life softens. The endless striving gives way to presence. The noise of comparison quiets into contentment. The restless search dissolves into a deep sense of homecoming. To practice simply being is to reclaim our inherent wholeness, to recognize that beneath all doing, we are already complete, already enough. A young woman once shared with me, "I feel guilty when I am not productive." I invited her to sit with me by the river, to watch the water flow, to listen to the breeze, to feel her breath. After some time, her face softened. "I feel peaceful," she whispered. "And did you need to achieve anything for this peace?" I asked. "No, just being here is enough." This is the wisdom. That being is its own nourishment, its own grace. Of course, there is a time for action, for creating, for contributing, but these arise more beautifully when rooted in being, when we act from fullness rather than lack, from presence rather than compulsion. To cultivate this, we must make space for it, for stillness, for presence, for moments of simply being, a simple practice. Each day, set aside a few moments to do nothing, to sit, to breathe, to notice, not as a task to complete, but as a space to inhabit, to be with yourself as you are, without needing to change or improve anything. Over time, this practice deepens. You begin to carry this quality of being into the rest of life, into conversations, into work, into movement. You become more anchored in presence, more attuned to the subtle richness of each moment. Life becomes less about reaching, more about receiving, less about proving, more about expressing. And in this way, the art of simply being transforms how we live. Relationships become more genuine. Work becomes more inspired. Joy becomes more accessible. For we are no longer chasing life. We are inhabiting it fully, freely, with an open heart. I have seen this shift in many. The leader who brings presence to their team and fosters a culture of trust. The parent who offers undivided attention to their child and deepens connection. the artist who creates from presence and finds their work infused with new vitality. This is not a withdrawal from life. It is an entry into its deepest layers, where the richness of being informs all doing, where life itself becomes art. So ask yourself gently, where might I invite more being? Where might I create space to simply rest in presence? Perhaps in the quiet of the morning, in the pause between tasks, in the simple act of walking, of breathing, of noticing. Remember, you are not here to be constantly driven. You are here to be alive, to taste the fullness of this moment, to feel the pulse of life moving through you, to inhabit your days with presence and grace. So tonight, as you rest, let go of striving, let go of becoming, and return to the simplicity of being. Feel the breath, feel the body resting upon the earth, feel the quiet presence of life within and around you. This is enough. You are enough. In this breath, in this being, let this be your practice, your path, your offering to live fully and freely. In the art of simply being, there is a trail that winds beyond the far hills. It does not end at the river, nor at the meadow beyond. It continues, gently unfolding with the land. Each time I walk it, I discover something new, a wildflower I had not seen before, the shifting light upon the leaves, the call of a bird, unfamiliar to my ear. And in this simple experience, life whispers its deeper truth. The journey is ever unfolding. There is no final arrival, no ultimate destination at which all is complete. Life is a living process, a constant becoming, a dance of emergence and return, of expansion and deepening. And when we live with this understanding, we move with greater ease. We release the need to grasp at completion. We open to the richness of the path itself. Each step, its own fullness. Each moment, its own offering. A young seeker once asked me, "When will I be fully enlightened?" I smiled gently. Enlightenment is not a place you reach and remain. It is an unfolding, a deepening of presence, a widening of compassion, a continual return to the heart of life. The same is true for all aspects of our journey. Growth is not linear. Healing is not a straight line. Wisdom is not static. All of it moves in spirals, in waves, in rhythms that echo the larger patterns of life, the cycles of the moon, the turning of the seasons, the flow of the tides. When we align with this rhythm, life becomes less of a struggle. We stop demanding that we be always progressing, always achieving, always arriving, and we begin to honor the natural ebb and flow, the times of stillness and the times of movement, the moments of clarity and the moments of not knowing. All are part of the journey. All are necessary. When we embrace this, we walk with greater humility, greater openness, greater joy. For each moment becomes an invitation, a doorway into deeper being, deeper knowing, deeper love. I often remind students, you are not here to complete life. You are here to live it, fully, wholeheartedly, with curiosity and wonder, to savor the unfolding, to meet each new turn of the path with presence, with trust, with a heart open to what may come. A simple practice for this. Each morning, as you begin the day, pause, breathe, say inwardly, "Today, I walk this unfolding path with openness. I trust the journey. I welcome the unknown." And throughout the day, when impatience arises, or the mind grasps for certainty, return to this intention. Remember, the path is not meant to be fully mapped. It is meant to be lived, step by step, breath by breath, moment by moment. In this way, life becomes more spacious, more vibrant, more alive. The ordinary reveals its hidden beauty. The unexpected becomes a doorway to grace. And even the challenges become part of the larger unfolding of your becoming. For this journey is not separate from you. It is your life, your breath, your being. It moves with you, through you, as you. So ask yourself gently, how might I walk this path with greater ease, with greater trust, with greater openness to the unfolding? Let go of the need to reach some final state, some ultimate arrival, and instead, inhabit the journey itself, fully, lovingly, with the deep knowing that each step matters, each moment is sacred, and life will continue to unfold in ways beyond what you can now imagine. So tonight, as you rest, breathe into this truth. You are on the path exactly where you need to be, held by life, carried by its currents. And as you walk with trust and surrender, with presence and gratitude, the path will continue to reveal its quiet wonders. Let this be your way of living, your way of being, your way of moving through the ever-unfolding journey of life. And now, dear one, the lanterns grow dim. The stars shimmer in the wide night sky. The river flows steady beneath the moon. You have walked far on this gentle path, step by step, breath by breath. Each word, each pause, a doorway into deeper presence, into trust, into surrender. And now, here you are, not at an ending, but at a soft resting place along the way. For the journey of life is ever unfolding. There is no need to rush, no need to grasp for more. You are here, and here is enough. As you rest now, let the teaching settle, not as something to hold in the mind, but as a quiet knowing in the heart. Like seeds planted in fertile soil, they will blossom in their own time, in their own way. You do not need to force this growth. Life will carry it, just as the river carries the fallen leaf, just as the breeze carries the scent of wildflowers. Your heart knows the way, your breath knows the rhythm, and life, in its vast wisdom, knows how to guide you. So let go now of any striving, any seeking, any need to remember it all. Simply rest. Rest in the breath. Rest in the body. Rest in the spaciousness of being. For this is the heart of it all. To be, to trust, to allow. The earth holds you. The stars watch over you. The river sings its quiet song through the night. And beneath all thought, all doing, you are already whole, already enough, already home. As you drift now into sleep, may your breath be soft and steady. May your body release all tension. May your heart open to the quiet grace of this moment. You have walked well. Dear one, you have listened deeply. You have opened yourself to the flow of life. And now, life will continue to move through you in ways seen and unseen, in dreams, in gentle awakenings, in the small miracles of tomorrow's dawn. You are a vessel for this grace, a participant in this great dance of life. No need to force, no need to chase, only to be, only to trust, only to surrender into the gentle unfolding of each new moment. So rest now, held in the embrace of life, carried by its current, supported by its unseen wisdom. And know, in the quiet depths of your being, that all is well, that you are exactly where you need to be, that what is meant for you will find its way, and that the path continues, ever unfolding beneath your feet, softly, gently, with each breath, with each step, with each new dawn. So sleep now, dear one. May peace be your companion. May trust be your guide. May the heart remain open, and may your journey continue. With ease and with grace, good night, and may all be well.